let's talk about Bob Dylan's 1963 song, Masters of War. Now, this isn't just a song, okay? It's not some gentle plea for peace. No, it is a direct, blistering accusation, like a 6-minute hammer blow. So you have to ask yourself, what on earth could fuel that kind of white-hot fury? I mean, the song ends with one of the most savage curses you'll find in modern music. What kind of anger, what kind of sheer disillusionment makes a songwriter not only wish someone dead, but promise to stand over their grave just to make sure? It's intense. So to even begin to understand that, we've got to figure out who exactly Dylan is pointing his finger at. Okay, so who are these masters of war? Well, Dylan leaves absolutely zero room for doubt here. His target isn't the soldier on the front lines, the one with the rifle in their hand. Not at all. His aim is fixed squarely on the powerful, kind of unseen figures who are pulling the strings, from way back, safe in their boardrooms and government offices. And his indictment, it starts with the manufacturers, the engineers, the people who are literally designing and building the instruments of destruction. And you gotta see, this is a very deliberate choice. Dylan isn't attacking some abstract idea or foreign policy. He's pointing right at the things, the tools of war. He's basically arguing that the sin doesn't start on the battlefield. It starts on the assembly line. And it doesn't stop there. The threat just keeps getting bigger and bigger. The lyrics escalate from guns to death planes, and then, boom, to the ultimate terror of the atomic age, the big bombs. In just a couple of lines, Dylan is basically mapping out the terrifying growth of the military-industrial complex, the very thing President Eisenhower had warned Americans about just 2 years before this song came out. And here, Dylan's focus pivots a little. It's not just about what they build, but where they hide. Think about it. They are physically separated from all the chaos they create, protected by these thick walls, totally safe and sound in their mansions, while the world outside is just burning. And it's not just physical walls either. Hiding behind desks, that points to something else, something maybe even more insidious: bureaucracy. It creates this cold, impersonal, almost administrative distance from life and death decisions. The bottom line is, in every single way you can imagine, they seem completely untouchable. So, okay, now that Dylan has pointed out the accused, he starts to lay out their specific crimes. The song moves really methodically from who they are to the absolutely devastating consequences of what they do. And this line, wow, it is just devastating in its simplicity. It completely reframes global conflict. It's not some complex issue of national security or ideology anymore. No, it's just a casual, arrogant game played by the powerful, for their own amusement. The entire world isn't a stage for history, it's just their little toy. This right here gets to the absolute heart of the song's main point, the hypocrisy of it all. On one side, you have the master who fastens the triggers for other people to fire, and then just sits back and watches the whole thing unfold. But on the other side, you've got the young soldier, with a gun shoved into their hand, sent to face the fast bullets. One is this detached, clean act of command. The other, well, that's the raw, terrifying reality. Right, so how do they even get away with it? Well, according to Dylan, it all comes down to a constant stream of lies and betrayal. And he doesn't pull any punches here. Let me tell you, he goes right for it, comparing their actions to one of the most infamous traitors in all of history. And this is the core of the deception. It's that huge, repeatable lie that's been told all through history, that this war is necessary, that it's winnable, that it's for a noble cause. But Dylan just scoffs at it. He says he can see right through their propaganda as easily as he can see through the water running down his drain. To him, the lies are just completely, almost pathetically transparent. And it's right around here that the song takes a really dramatic turn. It pivots from being a political and social critique into something much deeper. It becomes a complete and total moral judgment. We're not talking about policy or profit anymore. We're talking about the eternal state of their souls. You know, Dylan is just brilliant here because he totally anticipates the counterargument. He knows his critics are gonna try to dismiss him, right? Oh, he's just some naive kid who doesn't get how the world really works. So he puts their words right into his own mouth just before he delivers the final knockout blow. And there it is. This is the ultimate condemnation. Think about it. To bring up Jesus Christ, the central figure of forgiveness in Western culture, only to say that the crimes of these masters are so awful, so fundamentally evil, that they fall completely outside the realm of any possible redemption, wow, that's not just a verdict, it's an absolute theological one. So if their actions are beyond forgiveness, what's driving them? Well, Dylan goes straight for the wallet. He asks this devastating question, basically suggesting that all the blood money they've piled high is completely worthless when they're facing their own death. I mean, it can't buy you forgiveness, and it sure can't buy back a soul you've already sold. And this brings the whole thing full circle, right back to that shocking, really personal curse that ends the song. He's delivered his verdict, and now Dylan is ready to pronounce the sentence. The intensity of this final verse is just stunning. It's not just some vague hope that they die. It's a solemn promise that he will personally be there to witness it. The anger is so deep that he needs to see it through to the absolute very end, just to be sure that justice, as he sees it, has finally been served.
And you know what? This song has not just faded away and become some historical artifact. Not even close. See this number? 895. That's about how many times Bob Dylan has performed this song live since 1963. Almost 900 times he has stood on a stage and delivered this same furious verdict. If that doesn't speak to its incredible and, let's be honest, unfortunate enduring power, I don't know what does.
And all of this leaves us with one final, unavoidable question. The song was written way back in 1963, right? A product of the Cold War, the fear of nuclear annihilation. But its central accusation, that core outrage at power, profit, and propaganda, well, it feels just as raw and potent today, doesn't it? It really forces us to ask, in our own time, who builds the death planes, who's hiding behind the desks, and who are the masters of war now?